Hi, I'm Jean Lawrence, and I lead the Marketing and Communication Organization at Nokia Cloud and Network Services. Thank you for joining us for this Nokia Core Talk. And I'm very pleased to welcome Heidi Schulz, who is the head of Super Squad 1 Core Voice at Deutsche Telekom. Thanks for joining me, Heidi. So let's start by talking about IMS. IMS has been around for many years, and it works across many different generations of mobile networks. But the shift is on now towards a more cloud-native architecture, and that changes how IMS is built and scaled and operated. So from your perspective, how do you see a modern cloud-native IMS fitting into the kinds of new and complex services that 5G makes possible?
Okay, thanks. Thanks for having me here. For me, the answer to this complex world is the cloud-native IMS, because the way we handle the legacy world, the standalone IMS, would not work anymore with everything we had. And it also brings us into the position to rethink voice and messaging. It enables us for customers to embedded systems and brought us to a digital experience. Like, for example, we also see use cases for securely triggering using the voice for healthcare or, for example, banking. Also for IoT ecosystems, I see there are many possibilities when we're now doing this change. What makes it possible, I think, the change of this architecture. That means IMS functions run in a container, orchestrated by Kubernetes, and also exposed to standardized APIs for the developers to use it. So I think the cloud-native approach allows us to scale, to react, using these functions independently, can roll out features very fast through automated pipelines. And yes, we will get more flexibility than we had in the past with the legacy systems. Yes, that from that perspective, I think the IMS turned from a really static voice platform into a programmable ecosystem, and now rethinking what this brings us for B2B or also B2C, and also over cross-domain services. I think there's no end.
Yeah, it really enables the whole next generation. Yeah, that's good. So Nokia's cloud-native functions are going to run on Deutsche Telekom's infrastructure using your own cloud platform and your own automation tools. So how do you make this cloud-native deployment possible at that kind of scale? And what has your experience been in running CNFs in this way?
Yes, at TTG in Germany, we have made cloud-native deployments possible at scale with combining the Kubernetes and also the GitOps and the automation across our private cloud. Every network function, so that means every configuration, but also the policy is managed via code. It stores in Git, and so we have a completely version control over 100 CNFs in every environment. So we have lab, we have live, and that would not scale anymore. So our automation pipelines, we are using tools like Flux, handles deployment, updates, config changes, rollbacks as well, because if something happened, you are able to step back at each version you had in the past, where you know, okay, there was no issue in it. Yes, and that brings us into these scenarios also for multiple sites without requiring, like I said, this manual intervention. You have people coming and doing something. Yes, that also helps us eliminating these config mismatches what we had maybe in the past, where the one side is different configured than the other one, and there's one same code for all of the sites, and it's completely can be rolled out in a few minutes. And that is what we are striving for, what we also need to have a secure service for our customers. Yes, but it's not just these processes like the rollout and the upgrades. It's also for the observability and also for the life cycle and the monitoring. We also automated that we can do or using in future then the anomaly detection and also the performance management. Everything comes together using the automation and brings us then to the possibility then going further, doing some correlation using AI opportunities.
Tremendous amount of advantages. That's great. Good.
Okay, but Jean, maybe a question from my side. We have had a lot of work to make our CNFs scale cleanly across our own cloud. I'm curious, how is Nokia designed in CNF to run well in different operator environments without needing these heavy customization?
Yes, that's a great question, and it's really important to our customers around the world. And so we've put a lot of effort into making sure that our CNFs can run smoothly in different operator environments without needing special adjustments. So we designed them to follow the common cloud native standards that you're very familiar with, and so they'll work whether you're running your own cloud or using something public. And so instead of building something that is tied to one platform, we focus on flexibility, on modular packaging, so that you can deploy and configure and operate in the way that works best for you. We also work very closely with our partners during the onboarding to test and to validate early so that issues are sorted out, before things go live. And we're just very much through this whole process trying to avoid anything that needs manual tweaking or hard-coded logic, which just slows everyone down. So the goal is that you take the function, you plug it into your automation pipeline as you described, and it just works the way it should. No drama. So kind of staying on the cloud native topic, with cloud native functions, many operators are trying to move away from traditional element management systems and towards more open and standardized tooling. So where is DT on that journey, and how are you approaching the shift to the EMS-less operations in practice?
I need to be honest, today we are not fully EMS free. So there are still some legacy system where we have the EMS system in it. But we are clearly moving into this direction, and with each new application and each new CNF deployment, we are supporting, where the support of Kubernetes is in it, we are extracting the EMS. We are using tools like Helm charts and operators and handling the whole life cycle through Git-based automation. So rather than the implementation of different management portals from vendor. For us, that is mandatory in a multi-vendor environment. And yes, it also relies on these open observability stacks like Prometheus, Grafana, OpenTelemetry. So we don't need to use custom EMS systems, dashboards to understand what is happening. In parallel, we are asking vendors to provide CNFs that are integrate cleanly into our automation and monitoring pipelines without an extra tooling. So for us, the EMS-less isn't just a technology shift, it's about gaining the control, speeding up operations, and avoiding tool fragmentation.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you had mentioned Git a moment ago. GitOps brings automation and software development practices into network operations by treating everything as code and managing changes just through version control. So at Deutsche Telekom, how are you using GitOps to drive that level of automation that you referred to earlier, and what benefits or changes have you seen as a result of that?
So right now, we see the first benefits. So GitOps has helped us bring more structure and control into how we manage a network. So everything we do, like I said, deploying functions or changing configuration, starts with Git. So that means every update, every change, is reviewed and tracked and easy to roll back if needed. And if over every environment, we have different stages of lab environment, live deployments. So it's clearly and secured that what we approved in a lab, that what we tested, is exactly that what we are rolling out in the live network. That's not like I said in the past. There are people logging into the system, making a change manually. Right now, we have our pipelines going through all of the stages, all of the environments. We are using the automation to apply everything. That secure that we have the same everywhere. Even if we are coming into the position that we need to increase or need a second site or we scale, you just have your configuration, you have just your automation and just put it in and it's working, up and running. And you do not need to check if everything is configured like it should. That also brings us to these large scale and rollout processes when looking into the future, and you maybe have the situation traffic is increasing and you need to scale your application. It will be easy.
Mm-hmm. Quick and easy. That's great. Yes. So now let's talk about how telecom networks are really critical infrastructure across Germany and your other properties as well. And with more software and more APIs and more remote access, that attack surface keeps growing, becoming more vulnerable. So why is security so important to Deutsche Telekom, and how are you making sure that the network stays protected at every layer?
So yes, security is one of our biggest priorities, and it was and it will be and it will not go away. Mm-hmm. And I think Carl said it's not like if we will be attacked, it will happen. It's just a question of when. So we need to be prepared, and we need to have everything together to react then. And yes, maybe any attack could be a real impact on our systems, and therefore not just impacting the data, it also could impact the service. And our job is to secure that the service that the people are relying on is 24/7 available. That means we are putting more control in place at every level, from how we deploy software, how we function, talk to each other, and how we monitor the threats. So everything is but everything fitting in together from my perspective. On the one hand side, we need to have a fast fixing. So if there is a detection, there needs to be a fix will be then delivered fast, and we need to have the automation to roll it and also fast because we need to be the one to every time able to react and every time able to handle these topics, but we are still relying on people and the process. So we need to understand what is the vulnerability. We need to look into it and need to see, is there a workaround how we can get out of it. We are also starting to using AI in some of these in these areas, catching unusual activities. Right now, I would say it's not perfect, but it's showing the first value, and I think it's the right way to go. It's starting, and for us, and I think so. Hopefully for everyone, security is not a checkbox and like a process. So security, you need to think from the beginning when you're thinking about the design. Your whole solution, it is mandatory to have it from the beginning, and not just having something, put it into your network, and then at the end running a scan and say, oh, there are vulnerabilities. So no, you need to do it as an internal process from the beginning when the software will enter the lab, or even then in the Nokia area.
Right, a prime design consideration. Yes, good.
Yes, one question from my side.
Sure.
You have seen how different operators approach cloud native transformation from Nokia side. What is the most valuable thing you've learned so far about making CNF truly ready for automated, secure operation at scale?
Yes, so it's something we've been very focused on actually for multiple years now and very committed to. And so we try to build CNFs that are flexible enough to work in any setup without any special tuning. And so we follow standard practices, we keep things modular, and we avoid anything that ties a function to one specific platform. And so the goal is for operators like you to be able to plug our CNFs into your environment and just have them work with your automation, your tools, your way that you described. And so, it's still a journey, of course, but we're getting better with every release, and we're learning how operators like DT are deploying in the real world, and we keep growing and improving on this journey.
Perfect.
So great. So Heidi, thank you so much for joining me for this very interesting conversation, and I'm looking forward to continued cooperation and partnership between our companies. And this concludes our Core Talk. Thanks to everyone for joining us and for your attention.